Hello and welcome to Living with Intent. In this video, I thought I'd talk about strategies for health and weight loss. That is, how do you become healthier and how do you lose weight? They're both sort of connected. So I'm going to try and get a few key points across and then go through the different strategies. Carbohydrates make us gain weight and carbohydrates make us unhealthy. Now, not every single carbohydrate, not the green leafy vegetables, but I'm talking about things like sugar, table sugar, grains, milk, potatoes, stuff like that. Things that are what we call the fast carbs. So the short of all of this entire video is, if you're not interested in doing some sort of a diet or whatever else, but you need to get healthier, you need to lose some weight, there are some key things you need to keep in mind. Grains, all grains, primarily wheat, but it just goes across all grains, rice, and grain and grain products, and milk products. If you could cut just these two things out of your diet, you will see massive improvements in health and in weight loss. And health could mean things like aches and pains. It could mean things like digestive issues. It could mean, heartburn, things of that nature. I think things like heartburn and digestive issues are just the sort of the tip of the iceberg. These are the things we feel, and so we won't react to that. But there's a lot of damage being done internally by grains and by milk. We may not see them. I think sometimes people who are showing symptoms are lucky because then they know to not do something. Whereas some of us don't have these symptoms and we don't know, we think we are okay, it doesn't affect us, but it does. Grains affect all humans. Some humans show the signs visibly by way of various issues, while others don't. And just because you don't, doesn't mean your body is not actually getting impacted by it. There will come a time, one day or the other, when that impact is so much that your body is going to start to show it in different ways. It could be in the form of arthritis. It could be in the form of some other disease. So, if you do nothing else, remove all grains and grain products, and that's also a kind of a difficult thing to do, because you go into a store and you don't think you're buying a grain product or a product with grain in it. But if you look at the ingredients, there's some form of grain in it. So I'm talking about grain products generally, like everything. Of course, if you're cooking at home, just don't eat the grain parts. And milk and milk products. The milk products are also in pretty much every food, especially in pre-made foods that you would get in the store. Sometimes you don't even think that you're putting milk in something. You use it for a marinade, you use it for various other things. And so when I mean milk products, I mean there should be no milk in any form or fashion in your diet. Now, a few other ideas. Yes, we gain weight and we get unhealthy because we eat carbs. But there's another very key aspect that you want to understand. It's two things: what you eat and how many times you eat. I'm not saying how much you eat. How many times you eat. Now, what does eat mean? Any calories. So I have a cup of tea in the morning with milk. Black tea would have been okay, but milk is calories. Or, through the day you're having tea or coffee, whatever it is. These are calories. That's counted as eating. That's, as far as the body is concerned, it's getting calories, right? So the number of times you eat makes a huge difference to your health as well as your weight loss or your weight gain, depending on what's going on. So the diet that I'm on is not about eating less, but it's controlling how many times you eat, right? That's really the key aspect. If you could stick to 3 meals a day and nothing else in between, no tea, no coffee, no snacks, no whatever, fruit, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's calories, it's eating. The number of times you eat makes a huge difference to your health and your weight. All right? It's not okay to snack, essentially. So, grains, milk products, and the number of times you eat. That is the sort of the foundation of everything to do with health and weight loss. All right. So Keep that in mind. It doesn't matter what you want to do, can do, feel like doing after these videos. If you keep these three things in mind. So the third thing is don't drink calories. Don't drink calories. So have water. And I don't mean, the diet Cokes and the diet Pepsis and that. I'm sorry that those are not, they are calories in many ways, but they're not what I'm calling no calories. They've got aspartame or some other sweetener which is not good for the body anyways. So the ones that I know of that would be okay, I suppose, is water. Of course, water is like the perfect. If you can drink water instead of anything else, that's like the best thing to do. And sometimes you're hungry, you think you're hungry, you're really thirsty. So if you tried drinking a glass of water instead of eating a snack, you realize that it was just that, right? You just wanted something to kind of go down your throat. We kind of have this habit, oral fixation, if you will, that something just needs to keep going down our throats. So don't drink calories. Get off the grains, all grains. There's no exception. All grains. I know people go and find substitutes, but the thing is just mainly about gluten. Gluten is one issue, and that it exists in barley, wheat, and rye. But gluten is a protein that's found in grains, and there are proteins found in other grains as well, like rice and millet and everything else. All grains, or the proteins in all grains, cause the same problem. We just don't eat them enough, and so we think that those grains are okay, but these ones are not. It's not true. All grains, all and grain products, all milk and all milk products. Again, be careful as to when I say milk products, I mean anything that has any kind of milk in it. It's dried milk or milk solids or whatever it is. If it's got anything to do with milk, it's out. Now, if you're reading the nutritional labels, it becomes very difficult for you to understand what is a milk and what's like a grain. But milk would even come in things like milk solids or casein, whey. These are proteins in milk. So just stay away from milk products, grain products. Don't drink calories, and keep a check of the number of times you eat. Now, the strategies for weight loss and health are essentially revolving around how many times you eat. Well, even if you didn't remove the grains and the milk products, if you were to just reduce the number of times you eat in the day, you'll see some benefits. So that would probably be the simplest strategy. Don't change anything about your diet. Just don't eat in the middle. Stick to your 3 meals a day, and that's it. Right? There's nothing else in between. No snacking and whatever, binging. Just that's it. That'll get you to some extent a little healthier, and you lose a little bit of weight. If you were to alter your diet, keeping that same, let's say 3 meals a day, if you were to alter your diet to reduce the grains and the milk and the fast carbs, the rice, the potatoes, the sugars, all grain products, of course. Anything sweet and anything that's fast carb. If you did that along with the 3 meals a day and only 3 meals a day and nothing else in between, that would be way better than just the 3 meals a day but eat what you want kind of thing, right? Now keep in mind, you start to control yourself about eating or what you eat, and you think it's okay to binge or whatever it is when you do it, and that's kind of like undoing the effect of, or the positive effects you've had for the time that you've been doing this change in diet. All right. The third strategy, and these are sort of increasing levels of difficulty, if you will, right? So I started at the bottom, the easiest thing to do, and then it gets more and more difficult, depending on your commitment, depending on the kinds of issues you're dealing with, or how quickly you want to fix these issues, how quickly you want to lose your weight. You want to get to that point where you increase the degree of difficulty of these diets. These are not diets in the sense that you do something, get better, and then you get back to what you were doing. These are lifestyles. Okay, so I'm not talking about some temporary fix, get your thing fixed, and then you go back to your diet, and you kind of yo-yo between the good and the bad stuff. Especially for those of us who are getting older, I believe, even kids, toddlers should be on a really good diet. We're playing with their lives. We understand the impact of certain foods on our bodies, it's not okay to feed a child. In my mind, it's not okay to feed a child something you already know is going to cause damage. It's not like that adults get issues with these things. Every human being at whatever age. So if you got a young child, maybe it's time to get that child off of these things and form kind of good eating habits in the children. It's not like most people will say, oh, but he's a child or she's a child and let them enjoy themselves. Well, when? Enjoy themselves at what point? 10 years from now, they'll be suffering like everybody else. Most children show symptoms like, what they find, ADHD, anxiety, digestive issues. These are all related to milk and grains primarily. It's not medication that's going to help. Okay, so if you're having 3 meals a day, you've changed your diet to exclude the fast carbs, the grains, and the milk, that is massive. Okay, that is huge in terms of the gains, health, and weight loss. What can you do next? Now, exercise is nothing to do with weight loss per se. It's important to exercise to be fit, not for health and not for weight loss, for fitness. So we'll talk about exercise in a different video. They're not connected. You can lose weight and get healthier without lifting a barbell. Okay, the next strategy would be to have fewer meals. So if you're having 3 meals a day, have fewer. But there's a strategy to that as well. You want to basically, the body needs to be in a fasted state. It can only repair itself when it's fasted. It takes about 12 hours for the body to be in a fasted state after your last meal. If the body can be in a fasted state, it starts to have various benefits to the body. Primarily, the body starts to repair damage. It can't repair damage while it's trying to eat. So if you keep feeding the body, it's never going to be able to repair the damage. And so over the years, that damage accumulates and you start getting issues, right? So this strategy is more about compressing the hours you eat. So as an example, you could have a late breakfast, a later lunch, and an early dinner. So you've kind of compressed the late breakfast, the later lunch, and the earlier dinner, and you compress the window of time that you eat, giving your body so many more hours around the clock where it's fasted. So there are various strategies, easy or difficult. There are 16-hour fasts where you're fasted for 16 hours, and there's 19-hour fasts where you're fasted for 19 hours. How you do that, of course, it's your choice, but obviously you want to be sleeping for most of the time. So basically, you're eating an earlier dinner, then you get the whole night, and hopefully you're fast asleep, so you're not having to deal with that, I'm not eating for so many hours thing. And in the morning, if you skip breakfast and have a later lunch, you can have 2 meals a day. So a later lunch and an earlier dinner where you've compressed the time between lunch and dinner. You've made it shorter, therefore giving the body those many more hours of it being in a fasted state. And over 12 hours to be in a fasted state, and then from that point forward, the number of hours will help the body repair itself. Right? So if you're doing a 19-hour fast, so you're having 2 meals in a span of 5 hours. And again, when I say fasted, I mean you're having water or anything that's got no calories. Some people say tea, coffee is also not considered a fast in this respect because the body is still having to digest the tea and the coffee. I believe that. So I myself don't drink tea and coffee during this period. I'll just have water. But, if you're starting out, maybe you want to try it. Maybe you can't do without your black tea or black coffee at least, But don't have the tea and the coffee as a constant thing across through the time. And you have your tea in the morning if that's what you do, or your coffee in the morning if that's what you do. But don't, try and compensate for your hunger by having tea or coffee. Right? You have to sort of be very mindful of that. You want to get used to this idea that you can go 16 hours without eating. And it's not difficult, especially if you're going to be sleeping half the time. Like half the time is being you're slept, and then you're getting ready and getting to work, whatever, you're busy, mentally occupied, you're not hungry. I think I've learned that most of us just eat because it's lunchtime, dinner time, breakfast time, but it's not like we're hungry. We just kind of go through this motion, go through this routine because we've been told to do that. We've grown up doing that. So this is more about sort of mind over body kind of thing. We're thinking, okay, I'm not actually hungry. I'm eating breakfast, yes. I would like breakfast, yes. But I'm not actually hungry. And if you can understand hunger versus like the desire to eat, or it smells good, I want to eat it, differences, then you'll be better off. Okay, so that's a little higher or a little more degree of difficulty here. You're eating 2 meals compressed into like 5-hour gap between these 2 meals. So for 16 hours, you're fasted. You're in a fasted state for 4 of those 16 hours because 12 hours. It approximately takes about 12 hours for the body to be in a fasted state since your last meal. If you did that but didn't change your diet, you'll still get more benefits from doing the 2 meals a day compressed down to 5 hours between the 2 meals, but haven't changed anything about your food. But if you change your food and do the same thing, you get more benefits, right? So this is a kind of constant theme across the whole thing. Now, the other benefit or the reason you're going into where the body is able to do some magic while you're fasted is because you go into the state of ketosis. And as I explained in the previous video, nutritional ketosis is where all kinds of magic happens in the body. It's a completely magical state for the body to be in a state of ketosis. The best way to get in a state of ketosis is to not eat, remain fasted. The ketogenic diet is about eating foods that maintain you in a state of ketosis. But if you don't want to get into the complication, then give your body the ability to be in a state of ketosis by fasting for 16 hours. So that every day through the night and till the next meal, your late lunch, you're in a state of ketosis and magic happens, like real magic. And we'll go into the details of that in one of the other next videos. So, and then the third strategy is have 1 meal a day, which is what I do. So when I'm eating 1 meal a day and I have lunch. So basically I go from lunch to lunch to lunch to lunch. And I even have my first coffee in after lunch because I love coffee, but because I won't have coffee, even black coffee in the mornings. I just skip, and you get used to it. I mean, seriously, as I said, my focus is in optimizing my health. It's not about I like to eat this and I want to eat that. To me, that's not the reason I'm doing this. My brain is looking after my body. So for a change, I'm doing something, I am doing something for my body. So 1 meal a day. And again, there's sort of these dual strategies to that. You can eat 1 meal a day, but eat what you want and how much you want. Don't go like, overeating, but, idea is you want that stomach to shrink. If you've been eating a lot all these years, you want the stomach to shrink, so you eat less and you kind of feel full sooner rather than later. But you don't have to make a drastic change to your diet, and you can be eating 1 meal a day. Of course, the benefits to eating 1 meal a day and eating what you want in that 1 meal versus eating 1 meal a day and eating a controlled diet, meaning no fast carbs, no grains, no milk, no grains and grain products, no milk and milk products, and sugars, fast carbs. Then the benefits to the body will be way more than just eating the 1 meal a day but eating what you want. But studies have been done and it shows that you get benefits by not changing your diet as well, but by changing the strategy, by changing how many times you eat. Calories, meaning, as I explained earlier, calories is anything that you're eating something that's got calories in it. It's eating. You might think, I'm just having, a Coke. Well, that's eating. The more times you eat, the worse the body gets, and the more gain you put on, the more weight you put on. All right. Now, the fourth strategy is complete fast. So some people call it a water fast. I'm not sure I can really understand that idea of a water fast being something where you drink water only. It almost sounds like a water fast is I don't drink water. But what I call it a water only fast. So it's very clear that what I'm saying is I'm on a water only fast. So only water, right? You just fasted. You can do one day and then, eat the next day. So it's more than a day, right? Because if it's that one meal a day, you're fasted for the day. What I do is I fast 3 days a week, mainly 5 days a week, most times. And there's another reason for that. I mean, why did I go from 3 days to 5 days? Because I learned some things about fasting, and as a result, I changed it from 3 days to 5 days. So, but I do 3 days also, and I do 5 days also, but mainly it's 5 days. So, if you can fast, because there are people who do, fasting for 20 days, a month. The human body is a miracle. It is such a phenomenal biochemical machine. It doesn't cease to amaze me. That's one of the reasons that I got so excited about this whole thing, because when I smoked for so many years, and when I quit smoking, the body just bounced back. It was phenomenal. I felt, oh my gosh, like I've been abusing this body all these years, and it's not complaining. It's not, showing me a mood. You messed me up for so many years, now I'll show you. It just bounced right back. And that was so encouraging. And you'll see the same thing. Like you start to change your diet and use any one of these strategies, you'll see the difference. You'll see you gain your ability to have longer duration of attention, aches and pains disappear. There's just a lot more energy through the day. You're not so sleepy anymore, and you're not kind of zoning off. You're not kind of tuning off. You're kind of staring into space. I mean, I've seen people who stare right through me when I'm talking to them. It's like they just zoned off. And once they've changed their diet, their attention is actually a full attention. Now, when you're fasted, completely fasted, so when I'm fasting for the 3 days and the 5 days, you feel phenomenal. I am so amazed with how the body feels when I'm fasted. I love it. The feeling. Now, the fasting itself might be quite difficult for some people, but the way you feel mentally, physically is amazing. My day doesn't change. I'm not sitting in bed or moping around the house when I'm fasted. It's a full day. I'll even do my workout. There's not a change in what I do. And these days, when I'm fasted, I'm also standing up on stage and talking to people all day, 8:30 to 4:35, all day. I'm on my feet, talk through the entire day. And I'm walking around all the time. And then I come home and I go to the gym or whatever. So you're never feeling tired. In fact, it's the other way around. Is you're so mentally alert. You're not sleepy. You're just so alert. I mean, it's like all your senses are about you. Physically, there's absolutely no incapability. There's no disability. There's no lethargy, no tiredness, no weakness. There's nothing. It is a true magical state. If you can do longer, so be it. Now, I fast. I've changed my routine a little bit now to something different, but essentially for a long time, I've been fasting 5 days a week. Then I eat for the next week, 1 meal a day, 5 days a week, 1 meal a day, and so on. So I've been doing that. Now I've just switched up a little bit more to see if that, because that 1 meal a day, plus with the 5 days of fasting, I'm hardly ever eating. It's like 9 meals in a week. So I thought I'd try and have 2 meals a day. Now I keep trying it, and I've not yet managed to have the 2 meals a day. And I just forget, I'm not hungry, and I say, oh gosh, I was supposed to have dinner today. So it'll probably take me a while to get into the mode again of eating 2 meals a day. And that's the thing, the less you eat, the less you want to eat. People think, oh my gosh, I can't do without this. I have got to eat that. Well, you got to eat because of what you're eating. Carbohydrates give you highs and lows. So you feel, what people call hangry these days. Hangry is hungry, and you get kind of irritable, angry. It all disappears. Carbohydrates cause all of that. Carbohydrates cause all the chronic diseases that we know of today are caused by food. They're all metabolic, and they're all caused by carbs. Now there's different carbs, like the grains are there, and then there's the milk products, but there's also the other carbs, the sugar and the potatoes, you name it. So if you get off the carbs, you'll feel a huge difference. A huge difference. Now you're not eating less, right? If you take off the carbs, you got to add the fat. This is not just any fat. This is not the. Let's talk about fats, because that's also important. I'll make a video soon about how to make clarified butter for those who don't know how to make it. I personally prefer to make it than to go buy it from a store. So I'll make a video the next time I make clarified butter, and you be able to make it yourselves. Clarified butter is a fat, saturated fat. So when I say eat fat, I mean fats from meats, of course, eggs, the yolk, and fish, and coconut oil. Nothing else. So if you're cooking, and that's the other thing you should do when you start now from here on in, if you're cooking a meal, don't cook in with that canola oil and safflower oil and linseed oil, whatever it is you're cooking in, olive oil. Just stop all that. Cook in clarified butter or coconut oil. That's it. And that's pretty much the only fats you're going to eat, other than the fats from meats, fish, and eggs. So when I say add the fat into your diet, so make a fatty meal. Add a lot of clarified butter to the food you're eating. Or like what I do is I'll add bacon, and the bacon lets out a lot of fat. I'll make scrambled eggs by mixing in that fat into the eggs before they start to cook. Once it's nicely blended in, I cook the eggs, and there's not a drop of fat left in the pan, and all that fat is now in the egg. So the egg becomes a nice, heavy kind of meal. I mean, it's just, you get stuffed, you feel like really full. Or you can add clarified butter to your eggs and mix it into a scrambled egg so you don't lose any of the fat. Fat is very precious, so you can't afford to lose a drop of fat anywhere. So I hope this video is going to give you a basic intro or guidance to the various strategies you can employ. If you have questions about these strategies or want more details about, like when I say fast carbs, what they mean or what would be a meal like and everything, just put in a comment. I'll try and answer your questions if I know the answers to, or hopefully maybe point you to the right place. And in the next video, we'll talk some more about the more details about these strategies, as well as I want to talk about certain things like diabetes and stuff, where I think it's important for you to understand what some of these diseases are, so you understand the genesis of these diseases, and then therefore try and have a strategy to prevent them from happening. So I'll see you next time.